to BackTalk.
Hurt my brain a little bit.
Okay, stop.
No, I missed it.
All right, I'm prepped. I wore a tighter hat. Anyway. Okay, so today, folks, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia. Hello.
Sam Healey, what's up, y'all?
I'm also Tom Vasel tomorrow. But anyway, today we're talking about the Gathering Your Friends show, which we just went to. The Gathering Your Friends is an invite-only convention that's 10 days long, which we do not go for 10 days. We were there for 7? Yeah,
6 or 7, yeah.
It's an invite-only convention run by Alan Moon, who started this out over 20 years ago by inviting some of his friends together. And as time has gone by, some of their friends came, and now more publishers and designers go. And this is something that, you know, people have been upset that they can't go to it because it is invite-only. But at the same time, there's plenty of conventions all over the place to play. We were glad to go there to see some stuff and to, you know, prototype. In fact, we don't normally look at prototypes.
Right.
But the prototypes there were games that were coming out from established publishers, for the most part.
They're much more advanced prototypes, for the most part.
Except for one.
Oh, okay. But
foreboding much?
That somebody showed me.
Ominous?
Oh. But, so we saw a lot of stuff. Some of it we can't talk about. Some of it's not coming out till 2018, so it's a long ways away. But some of it is coming out soon. The convention itself skews... it's a pretty good gender representation, both male and female there. So. But it definitely skews older, and that's because of just the nature of the convention. The people who went have been doing so for 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And so we are actually some of the younger people at the convention for the most part.
The young bloods.
We are, and that's just the way that convention is going to be. It is, and this was the 28th year of it.
Wow.
So we just wanted to talk a little bit about our thoughts on it. We got to play new games there. We got to play upcoming games there. What would be the one single game which was the most interesting to you that you can talk about? Well, there was like a really great game I saw from Friedman Freese, and that's about all I'm allowed to say, but they'll announce it probably in a month or whatever.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun.
I mean, I know for me, my favorite game that I played there was Yamatai, the New Days of Wonder game. I played several times, actually. I learned it from the rulebook, played, and then I taught it, you know, to another group, and I really liked it. I thought it was fascinating. I think it's going to get some flack for the 5 Tribes comparison, which honestly I'm not really seeing that much at this point.
I think it's only getting the 5 Tribes comparison because it's a Bruno Catala game, it's Days of Wonder, and it's heavier than their normal fare. Yeah. So it matches those 3 things, boom, it's 5 Tribes.
Like, if no one pointed it out, I might pick up on a couple of, you know, distant similarities, but I think that they are both different enough that you're not, you know, you're not buying one to dismiss the other or anything like that. And I really liked it. It's highly tactical while being strategic. It is gorgeous. It is thinky. It's a slam dunk for me. I really liked it.
Full review, I think we posted it yesterday probably, so
yeah,
you can go watch that.
That's cool.
What about you?
Probably, oh wow, it's probably a tie between 2 games.
Tie?
No, it's a tie. T-I-E. No, that wasn't
TIE
good. Shut up. It was probably a tie between 2 games. The first one is The Godfather. Corleon's Empire,
right?
Coming out from Cool Mini or Not by Eric Lang. I thought it probably had, the game that I played probably had too much downtime for my tastes, but I think the reason there was too much downtime is because we were all learning the game for the first time, except for, we were playing a 4-player game, and except for David Preddy, who was playing with us, we had all not played the game before.
Did he win?
He did not. He came in 2nd place. Brian, I can't remember his last name.
So where would you place this on the like Eurogame Ameritrash scale?
I think this is solidly a Eurogame as far as mechanics are concerned. However, I think the theme and the overall feel of the game, it's definitely a Amerithrashy feel because it is a very cutthroat game. You're definitely in each other's faces. I mean, there are cards in the game where you can basically kill 4 or 5 different models.
Throw them in the river.
And they're in the river. We took a couple pictures of the game, and we were like, yeah, Eric Lang would be proud of us, because I mean the river was like chock full of bodies. I mean, it definitely has the feel of a of a Amerithrashy confrontational in your face, I'm going to take you out type of game. But the mechanisms that are employed in the game are definitely Euro-E, in my opinion. So that was one of them. The other one was Wasteland Express delivery service.
Really?
Coming out from IDW. Yeah.
I have a hat for this.
Jonathan Gilmore ran us through a game of the four of us at Snakes and Lattes, and we all had a really good time. There were multiple paths to victory. There were a lot of different thematic inclusions that were just really neat and very fun. At its core, it's a pick up and deliver game, which doesn't really mesh for me usually. But this one has a post-apocalyptic theme on it, and there's a lot of theme built into all of the different mechanisms. So I think it's really cool. Had a lot of fun playing it. It is a longer-ish game, which might steer you away. But I really
open to
I really enjoyed it.
I put the paint back.
He put the paint back in the can. He was like,
all right,
like that. Yeah.
Witness me, brothers.
My favorite game, probably that I played that I can talk about, is one that's already out, but it's being republished by Kumini, and that's Lorenzo Il Magnifico. It's done by the same guys who did Council of Four, which we also played there.
Yes.
And in this game, essentially, you are placing workers out, but the strength of your worker is based on 3 dice that are rolled each round. So there's an orange die, black die, white die, and then you have workers that correspond to those colors, and then where you place those workers is based on those rolls.
Okay.
And as time goes by, you can maybe get special abilities that can let you do other things. You can add workers to make your worker more... You can add assistants to make your worker better. Okay. And you're just getting essentially all sorts of different things. You can build a little machine and run these machines and get points and different things that way. I like that sort of thing. It's pretty thinky. I got whooped because I played Tom McCrory and Bob Arhus. And
They'll get you.
Yeah.
I whooped Tom McCrory in a game.
What game? Was it a dexterity game?
Santorini.
Yeah. But had he ever played it before?
Yeah, after the first time, after we taught it.
I taught Sam and Tom Santorini one of the nights. It was late. We were almost ready to call it.
Yeah.
But we're like, Sam was like, hey, how about you teach me this? I'm like, yeah, sure. I like that game. I like teaching it because it's very simple.
Right.
And yeah, it was good. And both of these guys liked it.
One thing's for sure, some of the smartest opponents I've ever played are at this convention.
Yes.
For sure. Like, we sat down and we did one of the puzzle rooms, the unlock thing, and it was just like, wow, it's fun watching these people do this. But, I mean, at the same time, though, there's some niceties to that. Like, when someone sits down and teaches a game, you know everyone at the table likely is going to understand it right away.
Right.
Yeah.
I like teaching new people games and everything, but this was just kind of nice because the level of play was fairly high. What was your highlight of the convention itself for you? I mean, not necessarily a game, but something that happened or you did.
Well, one of the days we went over, this was silly fun, but it was a blast. We went over, you, myself, and Jason. We went over into Canada in the morning-ish. Just crossed over, had some pizza for lunch, and then sort of did goofy touristy stuff. So we went to like a maze where you run around a maze, and that was fun. But it was like
amazing.
It was like 5 minutes. It was really short. But then we went and did some miniature golfing, of which they have a few different ones. But one of them, which is called Wizards Golf, I think is what they call it. It's underground, and so it's glow in the dark. Everything has glow in the dark paint on it. They light it up, and it's goofy, but it was really fun.
It was actually some pretty nice holes too.
And they were great. Yeah, the course was solid. It was way more spacious down there than I would have been.
I'd be worried about getting smacked in the head with a club.
It wasn't that dark. Everything glows.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, really.
So it was like dark lights then.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Like if you were wearing a white shirt, you would have been.
Gotcha.
So that was probably one of the funnest mornings we had over there. You know, the gaming's great there. People are excellent there. But being able to get away from a convention and do something silly, something fun, or just hang out with people, for me, those are some of my favorite convention things. Because gaming is fantastic, but you can do it anywhere, really. If you go to a convention, you'll see people you don't see or have activities available that you don't have. Whereas a game is portable. I mean, you can play it here, right?
Right.
So that's some of my favorite stuff. And, of course, going to the big day to Canada as well, which I'm sure you're going to want to talk about.
That's what I was doing, yeah.
Go for it.
Going to Niagara Falls on the Canadian side was probably my highlight. And we did that the first day we were there. We slept in a little bit because we flew in kind of at a weird hour in the morning overnight. And we woke up a little bit later, walked over the very long bridge. And it was just really... I mean, I remarked to Zee at one point just the power, that it must be generated from those falls. Because at one point you can walk up by, I guess it's called the Horseshoe, and you can look over a wall, and there's the water going over the edge. And it's like a roar, and it's just the raw power that's there. We were able to go down actually behind the falls underneath, and again, when you're standing there looking out that portal, just the roar and the power that's there, it was magnificent. So it was a really cool time. Got a lot of exercise, 3 times my daily value that day. So that was also
I took a shower right there. I was like, ooh, water.
Yeah, no, I would wake up early every morning and just walk over there. It's just amazing how close this convention is to the falls.
Yeah.
And there's so many great angles to see them from, too. So I enjoyed that. I think for all of us, one of the highlights would be on Friday, we all went up to Snakes and Lattes / the Blue Jays game.
Yeah, that was
the
really
Blue Jays
cool.
game, I'm a fan of them, but whether you like them or not, it's just fun to go together to the group of,
that's how I
to
feel.
anything.
I was
hilarious.
I was a fan.
Oh, yeah.
I had my hat
No,
on.
it's pronounced troll.
Yeah, troll is the correct word.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
But we sat in front of a couple guys from England, and so we listened to someone explain the whole game, the differences between this and...
That was funny. That was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I don't follow baseball, but just being there, hanging out in a group, the atmosphere generated at the stadium is what makes it.
Yeah, very much.
But really, Snakes and Lattes College... They have two locations. We went to the Snakes and Lattes College. It's
About
called.
to open a third.
Are they?
Yes.
Yeah, and it is so amazing that, I mean, I've been to board game cafes, and the board game cafes are great, but this one is easily the best. Easily.
Yeah, Snakes and Lattes is definitely a very, very close second as far as the trip is concerned for the things that were highlights for me. I've been wanting to go there for years now, and being finally able to get there, and then... You know how you like anticipate doing something for a long time, then when you actually do it, you're like,
You built it up too much, right?
Yeah, you built it up too much. You built up too much hype in your head. Well, that didn't happen. This was a great experience. The food there is awesome.
Yeah.
The drinks that they serve are awesome. Like you're in a bistro or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you really could go there just for the food, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing food. Their chefs or cooks are just amazing. The atmosphere is very airy and lighted. It's not dark and dingy or anything like that. Right. It's just a great location, and it's a great business model for what they've got going there.
I was mostly
really
impressed by the service. Yes. They're there all the time. Do you need this refill? Do you need this? Right. Do you need this? Do you need this game taught to you? Right. Do you need us to help you find a game? Mm-hmm. He came by and he's like, I guess you don't need any help finding a game. But I like that. I enjoyed it. And if any of you are watching this and came out and played games with us, we really appreciate that. A lot of people came out.
Very much so.
And that was a lot of fun. What about so we're there playing all these games and prototypes and all that. Mm-hmm. What kind of trend are you seeing in the industry from being there?
Trends. I don't know if I saw any trends. But then again, I wasn't really looking for them. This is my first time there, so I was just kind of trying to take it all in. I think that convention is a heavily weighted in the Euro game category.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, it just so if you're a Marathrashy and those are the kind of games that you like, you're not missing much other than the other things that you can do. I
saw a few things. Like I saw a big game of Memoir being played.
Yeah, they did that once out of the 10 days.
I know, but I
saw that.
You see a few things like that being played. But you're right. For the most part, they're there to play games like Lorenzo and things like that.
I think the trend I'm picking up on, which actually you pointed out first, I think, is just more of those puzzle room, escape room games. Yeah. Those things are coming out in force. everywhere. Everyone's making one, it would seem.
We had a really fun. We played, all three of us. We played with Kevin Wilson and was it Gil?
Was Gil playing with us?
No, I don't think so. I know.
Yeah. I have it written down in the game. I'll have to look
Brian from Grand Con was there.
Oh yeah, Brian.
Me,
Brian. Yeah.
Kevin Wilson. Yeah, it was.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
And that was a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
Which we beat like
barely.
a couple seconds.
Yeah.
We had 30 seconds, man.
Yeah, but Sam found like the final clue.
I did.
You did.
You were the MVP, man.
No.
Yeah,
Nope.
but these are really fun to do. And so I'm going to say that you'll see them fade after a couple years, like in popularity. But for a while, this is, I think, just the beginning. I'm saying by the end of the year there'll be 20 on the market.
Yeah,
There'll be a ton of them. Yeah.
But you're right. I think they have a limited lifespan here. I think once the craze is over, because there's a lot they can do with an escape room. Eventually there's going to be only so many things they can do with an escape room board game.
Well, we're already at the point where I'm saying, all right, look at the card sideways. You know, I'm thinking about things I've seen in the other ones, and sometimes these things that I'm thinking of show up in the other one.
I don't know. I think you probably have more freedom with a board game than you do with a physical location. Because with a physical location, there are other things that you have to think about that you don't have to think about with a game. And that is, I have a room that is this size, and it's this big. And if I'm going to have this thing open up into another room, I've got to put a hole in that wall right there. You don't have to do that with a board game. I mean, the board game that we had what, 3 different rooms in it, I think? The one that we played, the Secret Lab, had 3 different rooms in it. There were no physical limitations there. You know what I'm saying? So I think you have more freedom to explore more options and more possibilities with the board game format. I think it's probably tied more to the physical location's popularity.
There's that too, but I mean, what I'm thinking of is the puzzle type is limited in a board game. Like, you can't do a dexterity puzzle very well. You know,
why not?
In a board game,
well, actually,
there are dexterity board games.
Actually, hang on. It's there are some.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I hope it keeps going. I'm loving the trend. It feels right now to me like when poker became really, really popular, and a bunch of poker board games came out, and it was like, okay, cool, and then that died, of course, down. And so, escape rooms are blowing up. They've been going very strongly for a decade now. But anyway, and so everybody's doing it now in board game form. I wonder if that's going to fade. I hope it doesn't. I love them. But we'll see.
All right, well, before we end this, any last thoughts, final things? A game you want a quick shout out?
Sure, I'll do one. I played from WizKids a game called Fantasy Realms.
Oh, did you like that?
I did. It's a game in which you are building your hand. You have 7 cards, and you are just trying to get the best combos in your hand. On your turn, you very simply will draw a card, discard one, or take one from the discard, which is splayed out, and discard another. Once there are 8 discards, game's over, and you score every card one at a time. The game is lightning quick. It might take longer to score than to play, because you have to go 1 card by card, right? So the card has a base score of 9 points, and plus 10 if you're holding this other card. Okay, yes I am, so 9, 10, 19. Next card. And you go through that for every player. And it's great, because there's a lot of these. I mean, I scored 1 card at one point. This is the big one, I think, which is a base score of like 4 points. But if you have this card, and this card, you get a bonus 100.
Yeah.
It's like, what? And so it sounds wildly imbalanced, but it seems okay. It felt okay. Played twice.
I really liked it.
And it felt okay. It did not feel like this is not right. Which is sometimes like that alarm goes off. Yeah, I felt okay.
That alarm goes off with you a lot.
Yeah.
You hate that, those swingy things that just kind of happen.
But it was all right.
But it's kind of like you can see the cards that people are grabbing too. So if I see a person that says they also need the T-Rex in their deck or whatever, I'm like, oh, if that T-Rex comes, I'm never discarding it. So they don't get it type situation. Right. But if I keep it in my hand, it's not going to get me points. It's actually more like
this also, then you
I
like
played it at Gamma Trade Show. I really like it because I like the combos, and you're like, oh, but if I take this card now, but that makes this card worse. Things like that.
Some cards cancel other kinds of cards. You got to be really careful with those. Really dug it. It was
I think the meta of it will help after you play like 3 or 4 times.
Right,
You'll be like, I know all the cards. This is what I'm looking for.
Anyways, that was Fantasy Realms coming out very soon, if I'm not mistaken, from WizKids. Really liked it.
Fantasy Realms from WizKids. Okay, then. Probably the one that was... Probably the one that kind of stuck out that I wasn't really expecting to like was First Class. First Class is like the way everybody has been, that I've played it with, the way everybody's been explaining it is Russian Railroads Family Edition, which it plays a lot like Family Railroads, but it's not as heavy, it's not as thinky, it's not as mathematical or anything like that.
Okay.
So I heard a lot of people, before I played it, I heard a lot of people saying, yeah, it's like Russian Railroads, and I wasn't really on board with Russian Railroads because of how thinky and because of how mathy it was. So I was kind of not really looking forward to it. But I've played it twice now so far, once at the convention and then once last night, and I really enjoy it. It's a really neat family weight Russian Railroads kind of game. Cool. Where you're trying to build your engine, you're trying to build two of your trains and get it to score as many points as possible over the course of the game, and you are also doing other things to score points, moving your train along a track that you're building by picking different cards. And that's another thing that I liked about it was there were 18
like Russian Railroads.
There's 18 cards that you choose from each round, and it's like a drafting mechanism where it's available to all of them, and they don't refresh until the beginning of the next round. And actually, at the beginning of the next round, they all go away, and the next set of 18 come out. So you're literally drafting these cards, and if you don't take the card, you're not going to see it again unless there's another copy of it in the deck. So I really enjoyed a lot of the different aspects of this game, so I'm looking forward to getting it to the table some more. It's First Class.
Well, I had a chance to play the new version of Giants, which is coming out. It took the older version where you're taking these stones and rolling them across the island, and now it's a faster, more streamlined thing. You're placing workers down, so I might place a worker in the middle so that everyone has to go through me when they're moving these statues, which gives me resources. Or I might want to be the person who moves the statue. You know, it's some choices there. The whole thing came together really well. I'm sure we'll see a final version of that. Maybe Essen? We'll see.
Cool.
Overall, it was a lot of fun. The whole thing was fairly relaxed, except not at the same time because we were just always doing something all day long. Glad that it's over because we're back, working here, but also had a really good time, and I'll be glad to go back maybe. Well, actually, no, we did sign up for next year, didn't we?
I don't know. That was you.
Yeah, make sure, by the way, if this sounds good, you want to see a little bit more behind the scenes of what was going down there, that you check out our video blogs. Yeah. Or vlogs. Vlogs of just what was going down there. I know Sam did one. I did one myself. Did you do one?
I did. So vote on which one you like the best.
Yes. Go check those out. Just a little more of what's happening. That'll be a good behind the scenes look.
All righty. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia. Thanks, everybody.
Sam Healey. See you on the flip side, folks.